Our guest today on the Classic Hits 93.1 Comedy Couch is Tim Wilson, Georgia-born comedian. Welcome to Tennessee.
Thank you very much. I live in Tennessee, in Nashville.
Oh, okay.
So technically, Tennessee doesn't throw me.
So your Tennessee accent, you're starting to maybe meld into that a little bit?
I don't know what kind of accent I have. I don't have a middle Georgia accent.
Yeah.
I think I probably have a North Georgia accent.
Well, there's a difference?
There's a big difference. In South Georgia, everybody talks like Jimmy Carter.
Oh,
everybody has this thing like they talk like Jimmy Carter. In the North, everybody talks like this. They got R's in the words, and the rural people don't say y'all; they say yuns.
Yeah. Oh, sure. We have a little bit of that here in Tennessee too.
When you get up into Tennessee, I can't do Tennessee.
Oh, you could.
No, I can't.
Yes, you could.
I can't. I can do every. I can do every accent in the world, but I can't do Tennessee people.
Well, all right. You take pilot. You look at the word pilot, you would say pie, like pilot, normally. But in Tennessee, you take the I and you flatten it, so it becomes pollet.
Pilot.
Pollet.
I can't do it.
It's almost like you spell it the other way. It's almost like you spell it P-O-L-I-T, pollet.
When you do Ronnie Van Zant, who's from northern Florida,
yeah.
It's kind of like this. We're gonna go to Panama City, man, and do this, man, and they're gonna talk real slow like this and this and that. South Georgia people talk like Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
The R people are North Georgia people.
Alabama, you open your mouth up real wide like this so they can see every tooth in your damn head.
You talk exactly like the biggest Alabama fan I know. Talks exactly
Are
like
y'all going to go on Wednesday night or Thursday night?
Mississippi, you kind of get the Elvis thing. You get that little stammer in there.
I love those.
Louisiana, I do Jimmy Swaggart, who's from Louisiana, but he acts like he's from Mississippi.
Yeah.
I don't really know exactly what happened at the hotel.
He sounds like he was oxygen deprived.
There's something. Jimmy Swaggart, I used to do Jimmy Swaggart as my closer in my show, and I used to could do him very well.
Used to could. That's a Southern expression.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And Arkansas, you talk like Bill Clinton. You're not sure if they're laughing or crying. You're not sure if they're happy or sad. And Johnny Cash kind of had that. He was from Arkansas, and you couldn't tell if he was in a good mood or a bad mood. Tennessee, I can't do.
Uh-huh.
You chew gum and talk like Charlie Daniels. And he's from North Carolina. South Carolina, you talk kind of like Strom Thurmond. That's a lovely young lady in here today.
That sounds like you see that in an old movie of a spoof of a Southerner. That's what it sounds like.
It's a lot like Foghorn Leghorn.
Okay, yeah.
Except he was the junior senator. That was Hollins. It was a junior senator. He talked exactly like Foghorn Leghorn. He was 80 years old and was the junior senator back when Strom Thurmond was 150. I'll do my Strom Thurmond joke. The only guy in the world can pull out a Susan B. Anthony dollar, look at it and think, yeah, I slept with her. He could probably get that Indian woman on the Sacagawea dollar. And if you check it, I'll promise you that's Strom's baby she's holding. North Carolina, you talk kind of like Andy Griffith. Oh, they're going to go out for supper. Yeah. And Virginia, South Virginia people kind of talk like Ward Burton, who got the Elmer Fudd, call it Elmer Fudd, and they don't say South; they say Sooth.
Really?
It's a peculiar voice.
I lived in Northern Virginia for a while, and my family's all there now, and they don't even realize they're in the South. I mean, they've given up on the South. They're all Northern now.
Yeah, and they kind of started all that, in the Civil War. They were pretty much. The Civil War was in Virginia.
Oh yeah, Manassas and Richmond, the whole area.
They've given up on that. I don't even really consider Virginia people Southerners, but that's just me.
Well, how is it that Kentucky is considered South when actually it's further north than some of these places we're talking
Kentucky is a neutral state.
Uh-huh.
If you want to get sweet tea, you stop in somewhere and, have you got sweet tea? We have sugar on the table. Lady, sugar on the table. They basically worry about basketball in Kentucky, and they want to be Southerners, but they're not.
They're not football enough.
Well, they're just not Southerners. Okay. We dropped 50,000 men at Antietam. They cared about the basketball thing.
Oh,
And West Virginia obviously is a neutral state.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other world. That's like you going back in time when you go to West Virginia.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm big in Kentucky. Kentucky is kind of my home state.
Okay.
And I work in Indianapolis and Indiana and Illinois and Michigan and all that.
All right.
And that's basically kind of my place. There's not really any comedy clubs in the South.
So when you're doing the circuit, then it's more almost Midwest.
Yeah, it really is. I do a lot of radio out of Indianapolis and
Bob and Tom.
And you know, they win the Marconi Award and all that.
Oh, sure.
And they've kind of turned me into a Midwestern comedian.
Is that why you do the music too? Because I know their show is big with playing the musical parodies.
Well,
it's almost easier sometimes to play those and repeat
that's one of the
those.
few places on the radio nowadays where you can actually get a song played.
Yeah.
That's true.
But now,
I mean, I've been in the record business. I've been on Capitol Records for 16 years, which is double the time that the Beatles were on Capitol Records. They did 2 billion units. I'm barely aluminum. But the record business has really changed, and it's kind of pathetic.
well, sure. I mean, it used to be from the top down, and now it's the opposite. Really, it's a grassroots thing where anybody can, put a song out there, and maybe it'll catch on, and maybe it won't.
Well, I'm talking as far as comedy records go.
Okay.
I can remember back when Jim Stafford was probably number 4 or 5.
I went to see him in Branson.
You did?
My wife and I did, not that long ago.
I went and saw him in Branson. I went to his house and ate popsicles on the patio.
Oh, man.
I talked to Jim Stafford for 4 hours. He came to a show in Springfield, Missouri, and just kind of invited me down there. And I went with my brother, and we ate popsicles and talked about Glenn Campbell and
man.
all that kind of stuff.
That's great.
He's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
But Ray Stevens used to have The Streak. Mm-hmm. That was number 1. That was the number 1 record in America.
I bought it. I'm the right age. I bought the 45.
That's right. So
don't look, Ethel.
Right. So we really like comedy records. Mm-hmm. There don't nobody like comedy records.
Mm. Weird Al Yankovic, maybe?
Weird Al, but Weird Al doesn't get played on radio, and he doesn't. He did in the '80s, but he didn't. He doesn't.
Right.
I guess what I'm saying is people sort of forgot about comedy songs.
Right.
It's kind of a shame.
You play them in the club when you're performing?
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, for example, Tim Wilson at Side Splitters this weekend. You can get your tickets at sidesplitterscomedy.com.
I'm at Side Splitters tonight through Saturday. Tip your waitress.
Yes. So you'll play some of the songs tonight?
Oh, yeah. I do probably half of my show is songs.
Oh, that's cool.
But, I'm like you said, I play real music.
Yeah. From the 70s. You were saying when you walked into the studio, we had the Doobie Brothers cranked. And
I do comedy routines on Leonard Skinner and Allman Brothers and Travis Tritt, who's an 80s guy, 90s, whatever.
Yeah.
But I do a lot of sketches on comedy records, and then not comedy records, real records, and then I do a lot of comedy songs.
Yeah, well, also you've got some great, reminiscences about how different things are from when you and I were kids growing up. Now, I mean, I grew up in the North, but I'm a Southerner by choice.
Where are you from?
Well, I hate to tell you.
No, it's okay.
New York.
Where at?
Well, Westchester County, Yonkers, New York.
Because my wife's from New York.
Oh, okay. So. My parents are from the Bronx, and I made a decision at some point in my life to not talk like them.
Well, I didn't make any decision to talk like me, and it's been hell on my Shakespeare career. But in the radio business,
come on, let's hear a little Last Poor Yorick. I knew him well. Come on.
In the radio business, it worked out pretty well, but Shakespeare and stuff, no.
Not so much.
I was an English major in college.
I'm thinking Southern Fried Shakespeare. I think there's a thing.
I was an English major in college. Yeah. I'm qualified to teach your children grammar.
Used to good.
That'll show you the sick-ass society we're living in.
Explain to me why, some Southern expressions don't make any sense to me. Around here they say, do you care to do something? Or if I don't care to. In New York, that means, I do not wish to do this. I do not care to do this. In the South, it means, I don't mind. I'll do it. It's the exact opposite meaning I don't care to in Tennessee means yes, and in New York it means no.
Yeah, well, really in reality, when you get about 52 years old, I really don't care what New Yorkers say. That's true. I really don't. I could give a damn what New Yorkers say, and I give a damn what L.A. people say. I basically work to the other 98% of the country.
Hey, I get that. I mean, I've lived in those places that you're talking about, and I've chosen to live here.
Right.
I'm the opposite of Bill Clinton, who was a Southerner who chose to become a New Yorker.
Right.
I'm a New Yorker who chose to become
He's a New Yorker, and he lives in Harlem, and God bless him, and good luck with it and all that, and he can stay in Harlem, as far as I'm concerned.
I thought he had a mansion in Chautauqua.
I don't know where he's at.
Oh, okay.
I could care less.
Yeah.
But I lived in New York City for roughly 3 years, because there was a point where my ex-wife and my children went up. My daughter actually went to American Academy of Dramatic Arts.
Oh, all right.
And I've been around New Yorkers, and I like New Yorkers. When it comes to day-to-day New Yorker, I trust New Yorkers. I just don't want to tell jokes to New Yorkers, because they don't want to hear me, and I just don't do it.
You know, we had somebody in here last week who said that the Side Splitters in Knoxville, that they laugh hard. You know, that they come to laugh, as opposed to some of these clubs in, he specifically was talking about California. He said it was a battle to try to get them to laugh in California. But in the South, especially here, you know, the audience was ready for you, and they just want to embrace you with laughter right away.
And that's what a comedian wants. And, you know, I mean, I really don't want to work in a serious club. You know,
it's called a comedy club.
The serious club, it's the comedy club. In Knoxville and Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I live in Nashville, but Chattanooga, Tennessee and Knoxville, if you're a Southern comedian and you don't get laughs immediately, you should change careers. It's true.
Because the Comedy Catch in Chattanooga, Side Splitters in Knoxville.
And they're the best, they're probably the best, I would say, for Southern comedians in the world, it's the best place to be.
Fantastic.
You can go down to Atlanta, and you can hope Atlanta will laugh at you, but they're not going to.
Really?
Or they'll laugh, but you have to really work.
Okay.
You know, Nashville's not that bad, but Memphis, Tennessee, it's a whole different ballgame.
Now, when I moved to Tennessee, they taught me right away. They said Memphis is Arkansas. Just let it go.
I guess. I mean, I would say that Memphis is black Tennessee.
Okay.
And black people, my wife is a black woman from Buffalo, New York. But as far as black people are concerned, they won't come to the show.
Oh.
Back in 83, 84, when I first started, we had 70% white people and 30% black people at all the shows.
Yeah.
All the time. And I can make a black person laugh. I promise you I can. But I rarely have the opportunity to, because they won't come out to the show.
Really?
It's weird.
That's funny. It's kind of the opposite, because we've had a few black comedians come in for interviews, and they're talking about how their crowd is, I mean, I guess it's mostly black.
Like Spanky Brown.
He was here a week ago. Yeah.
Right, and he's a great comedian.
Love Spanky Brown.
He's great. He's basically kind of, I would say he's sort of, what's the man, Sanford's son?
Red Fox.
Red Fox.
Yeah.
He's basically Red Fox. I mean, it's like it's his grandson.
Yeah.
And Spanky Brown is a wonderful human being. Spanky Brown doesn't work to a black crowd, really.
Oh, really?
He sort of works kind of to a white crowd.
Huh.
Because the black people, I don't know what it is. There's comedians, and Tim Northern lives in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah, I've heard of
He's
him.
a wonderful human being. He doesn't work to black crowds.
Really?
Spanky Brown can and does, but he kind of works to a white crowd. But it's a weird thing. I blame it on Def Jam and Russell Simmons.
All right.
I really do.
Well, all right. Remember the movie Kings of Comedy?
Yeah.
My wife and I were the only white people in the theater when we went to see it. We went to see it in California, though, and that's when I first learned of Bernie Mac.
Yeah.
You know, I knew who the other guys on the bill were because I'd heard of them, but to me, Bernie Mac was this mystery. You know, but then he, of course, became my favorite.
Yeah.
In the movie because he was amazing.
Well, Bernie Mac was born to be a comedian.
Yeah.
And Steve Harvey's a good friend of mine, and I guess he was born to be a comedian, but he's kind of game show host and and talk show and all that.
He loves radio and kind of changed his.
That's right. Steve Harvey is an example of somebody. He really, he does radio. He does game show host. He does his talk show. So overall, he's pretty much right.
Right.
When Cedric
the Entertainer,
he's talented, very talented guy. I don't understand D.L. Hughley. I don't understand it. I don't think he's all that funny. You can. He's been on he's had an opportunity to do TV on every network in America, and he can't quite get it right.
Hasn't caught on.
I don't think he's basically funny.
Yeah.
I don't think he's. I don't think so.
It happens. People who aren't funny sometimes are given opportunity, and you can't figure it out, and then they don't capitalize on it. It's not just him. It's happened countless times.
And I don't want to stay on this conversation because I'm probably not paid to talk about black comedians. Bernie Mac, Steve Harvey, and Cedric the Entertainer are born comedians. They're born to do it. They're born to do it. D.L. Hughley learned the lines.
Right.
And I really don't think, I think he's about that deep.
Well, it happens across racial, because you've got guys who are either sketch comedians or they're just actors, celebrities. In fact, we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago with one of the guys here on the couch. He said there are celebrities who are acting out the part of stand-up comic because they don't have anything else to do right now. They want the money. They're just going and collecting the paycheck at room to room to room around the country because their name will sell tickets.
Right, and it will sell tickets, and if it sells tickets, God bless them.
Yeah.
But, the kid that used to be on Saved by the Bell, Screech.
Exactly, Justin Diamond. That's exactly who kind of the person we're talking about.
Right, and I don't know how much it costs to see him, but God bless you and good luck with it and all that. But he won't be around in 30 years, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I'd much rather...
I've been doing comedy 30 years.
See, I'd rather go to a club and get that joy of... Dale Jones is coming to Side Splitters relatively soon.
Unbelievably funny.
I didn't know Dale Jones. I saw Dale Jones at Side Splitters in Knoxville a year or two ago, and I love Dale Jones. I mean, I didn't know him before. This is that joy of discovery.
Dale Jones is one of the few people in the world who can make you laugh and not say anything.
Yes. He
doesn't say anything. He just walks up there and does his thing. He's unbelievably funny.
Yes, I agree.
If they ever do a Jim Varney movie,
he's got to be him.
Immediately, it should be him. New Yorkers and L.A. people, they'll find a way to turn that into a Jim Carrey movie.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly.
But Dale Jones is born to do it.
Yeah.
But he really is. He's seriously funny.
But that's what I'm talking about. When you find a comedian who is born to do it, and you can trust that if they're booked at Side Splitters or at a decent comedy club, but specifically Side Splitters, they're going to be good. Just go. That's true. They don't book lamos in that room.
I mean, the February lineup is unbelievable. I mean, they got Dominic Irera and John Reap. I think
Tom Arnold. At the end of the month. That's going to be wild.
And there's one other guy that's working.
Who else is coming in February?
Cletus T. Judd. And Cletus would be the weak link on that. but really,
be friends with him.
Well, I am, and I almost sued him one time, but he's still funny though. Cletus is technically born to do it.
Okay.
And that's basically the case at all.
Yeah. With
the comedians at Side Splitters, they're born to do it.
How did you know that you were born to do it?
I've known I was going to be a comedian from the time I was 3 years old. It's just I didn't know where you went. I didn't know how to, I didn't know you needed to do open mic nights and all that kind of thing. But
so what did you see? I mean, did you see?
I never ever thought of not being in show business.
Did you see someone on TV, or did you go to a theater? I mean, what was some of those early?
When I was a little kid, I'd listen to Jerry Clower records.
Okay.
I'm somewhere between Jerry Clower and Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's a big difference. But I'm a comedian. I write comedy songs, but I write stand-up stuff and I've always technically, I think I'm supposed to be on the radio.
Yeah.
I should be paid by a radio station, probably $2 million.
Yeah.
But I'm probably a radio person. I'm probably not a TV person.
Okay.
But a lot of this I understand after doing comedy for 30 years and all that. When I first started, oh my God, we're going to be on TV. Oh my God, we're going to be on TV. I'm kind of supposed to be on the radio.
Yeah. Well, it's a different, I mean, I'm obviously know that it's a different discipline also, because in terms of the amount of material that you have to generate, and, you know, when you do a TV show, really once you've done your material on TV, you're done. You've burned it. In radio, you can have some repetition. You know there's turnover in the audience, but also the audience is with you, and they're kind of building it with you. You know, they have this intimacy in radio where I'm not going to say the bar of the punchline bar is lower, but they're like ready to laugh with you. They're contributing to the show. You're in their head. I mean, it's just you and them in the car.
Right.
Just you and them in the.
Now say it really. You like radio people.
Oh, I love radio people.
And you really don't like TV people, and it's true. You don't. When I go over on the afternoon shows, or TV, you know, morning radio, morning TV, or afternoon TV, they don't care about you. They're not. TV people are not as nice people as radio people, and I will go and say it, and I don't care who you know. They're prettier.
Oh, they're gorgeous.
They look unbelievably great.
You're saying you don't like TV people. I'm thinking of all these pretty ladies that I like to watch on TV. I'm like, well, I don't know.
Right, and they're nice, but they don't care about you. Radio people care about you.
Mm-hmm. Well, so there's a certain shallowness to a TV interview.
That's right.
Because you can tell that they're not really listening to you, and that they're thinking of their next question, and that they're thinking of, and they're worried about the timing, because you've only got 90 seconds.
I had a lady on TV one time. She read the teleprompter. Mm-hmm. That's all she did was read the teleprompter.
Yeah.
And I had to come off the top of my head and make up the answers. And she would read the teleprompter, and I would make up the answers. That's the difference. There's TV people and there's radio people. And radio people can think on their feet.
Well, yeah. There's a lot more, it's closer to improv in that regard.
I promise you,
because
it is.
It's the same concept of you've got to generate a lot of material on new material constantly. The audience is in on it with you, and then when you get to a very satisfying punchline, okay, good, we're there, we made it, boom.
Radio people will read the teleprompter when it's time to do the car commercial.
Oh, yeah.
3,000 got to go by tomorrow. Boss says we're giving away cars. But other than that, you never ever see a radio person reading the teleprompter.
That's true.
I really am a radio person.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're here, Tim Wilson. Thanks very much. We're going to see you at Side Splitters this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. SidesplittersComedy.com is where you get tickets at a discount, because it's cheaper to buy them online. You save like $2. So I recommend that highly.
I'll tell you what I'm for. I'm for the $20 comedy ticket.
Okay.
I think Side Splitters is $17 or $15, whatever it is. But they ought to be $20.
$20.
It ought to cost $20 to come see a comedian. Mm-hmm. And I believe that. And you know, if we go see Larry the Cable Guy, are we going to get in for $20? No, we're not. We're going to pay $65, $70,
right?
And we're going to be sitting up in the top watching him on TV again. It's true. You don't see him; you just watch him on TV.
No, that's true. They had
Larry the Cable Guy is a funny person and all that, and I watch whatever commercials he does, but he's not that funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Larry the Cable Guy is
not $60 funny.
No, he's not $60 funny. He's probably $25, $30 funny. I'm $20 funny. It should cost $20 to see me. At Side Splitters, you get in for $15.
So they should give you the extra $5 on the way out?
I say they do.
You need a tip jar.
I say they should.
Well, you sell merch, right?
Well, normally I do. Right now, I'm so poor that I don't have any merch.
So someone's just going to give you $5 and say, thank you.
Right, that's what they should do. That's exactly what they should do.
So bring extra money. The money you save by buying the tickets online, just give it directly to Tim Wilson. He needs it. He deserves it, by gosh.
Well, I'm saying, and it's true, because last week I was in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It was $22 a person.
Yeah.
Well, here It's $16, $17 a person. And everybody knows that the February lineup at Side Splitters, I'll promise you those guys ought to get $20 a head.
All right.
I'll promise you.
Okay.
They've been doing comedy for 30 years.
Yeah, you had it
I mean,
all.
how much funnier do you have to get?
You've reached the $20 level.
That's right.
Give him an Andrew Jackson at that point. All right. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Tim Wilson, Side Splitters Comedy. Thanks for coming in. It was great having you.
Thank you very much.